one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
All right, guys, yesterday, Sheriff Shannon Dicus of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department in San Bernardino County, California, posted a tweet on Twitter. Now I'm old school. I say tweet, I say Twitter. It's now known as X. So I don't know, posted a Xer, an Xist, I don't know. But I'm old school. So he posted a tweet on Twitter. And I replied, and then some clown who identifies himself as a retired captain with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, this clown decided to chime in, and I replied to him. I'm going to read the tweet that the sheriff put, and then I'm going to read the 3 replies. As a preface, I want to say that to Sheriff Dicus and all of you, I'm not ridiculing, accusing, criticizing, coming against, or any of that to Sheriff Dicus. I don't have a problem with what the sheriff posted. I think it's great. I like what the sheriff tweeted, but I wanted to put my input. You know who I am. I just am very, very conscientious about law enforcement doing the right thing. I can't get, there's things that I've seen, things that I've witnessed on video, and it's up here and it's in here, and so I did it. Now, this is a retired captain, so he identifies himself as a retired captain of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, which means you think he would be all for the First Amendment. Hey, free speech. Yeah, you know what? I got an opinion too. He says something in his tweet that contradicts that, but we'll get into that. But I'm going to read these real quick and see what you think. So Shannon Dicus tweets, "Thank you at KTLA Shelby for the opportunity to showcase the funding secured by at Representative Young Kim to acquire body-worn cameras, which serve as a vital tool to collect important evidence while ensuring transparency and accountability. This funding will help ensure our deputies are equipped to handle the complexities of modern policing with the tools they need to do their jobs effectively and, listen to this, responsibly, as they risk their lives for the safety of the public." Now, I'm pushing my phone here. I don't have a problem with that. I think he says, he words it properly. Body-worn cameras for transparency and accountability, and of course accountability goes 2 ways. People do lie on the cops as much as sometimes cops will lie in their reports, so forth. But he also says that they can do their jobs responsibly, meaning they're responsible for how they do their job because it's being recorded. That's what I get from it. But there's other things in there too. And I agree that they do risk their lives for the public. So Jimmy replies, "Sheriff, hopefully there is a policy in place as what happened in Sangamon County, Illinois, where deputies are penalized for not operating their body-worn cameras. Deputy Grayson turned his on after he shot Sonia Massey. This is a national Leo problem with body-worn cameras. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office deputies, let's all shine. Turn them on." Now, I even kind of gave him a thumbs up there, and I put, you can't see it on my teleprompter, but I put a 100. You know that 100? Like, let's all shine, 100. Let's do it. You know, that's what I was saying. But I said, hopefully there's a policy in place that if they don't turn on their body cameras or what have you, that they're going to be sat down with training or even a memo that says you didn't operate your body camera. We bought them. You got to use them. Hopefully there's a policy in place for that. Deputy Grayson turned his on after he shot Sonia Massey. Fortunately, his partner over here had his on already, and we saw the entire encounter. So that's all I'm saying. To the sheriff saying, hey, we got these body-worn cameras. In fact, here in town, they haven't had them for too long, but the deputies here in town have body-worn cameras. And I'm just saying, hopefully there's a policy in place that says, hey, if you don't turn it on or don't, turn it on timely, we're going to sit you down and we're going to ask why. I mean, the sheriff himself said it's for accountability and transparency, and said the body cameras are for them to do their job responsibly. So this retired clown says, well, Jim, I would hope the sheriff is more concerned with the safety of his deputies and the public when the crap hits the fan than turning on a camera. You sound like someone who should not have any input, as your statement shows you are thinking of safety. And I just read that again, and does that make sense? I'm thinking of safety. But he says, I think the sheriff is more concerned with the safety of his deputies than turning on a camera. You sound like someone that's thinking of safety. What? That don't even make sense. I just caught that. But the one thing I did catch was when he says, you sound like someone who should not have any input. You should shut up. Your First Amendment doesn't count here because you're talking about my sheriff. You have no opinion. Well, yeah, I do, because I'm a U.S. citizen in the United States of America, and the U.S. Constitution says I have the right to free speech. I mean, even if the sheriff himself came back to me and said, you know what, Jimmy? F you, buddy. Free speech. I mean, it's unprofessional, and maybe I would say something about it, but I'm not going to say he doesn't have the constitutional right to say that. Even this clown has the constitutional right to say this stupid whatever. I think he's confused here. So Jimmy responds, what about the safety of Sonia Massey? How many cops have lied on reports only to find a public street cam or fellow officer's body-worn camera that contradicted that report? And then I said, Sheriff Dicus said it all. Body-worn cameras are for transparency and accountability. Not much of either when it's off. That's what I said. When the body-worn camera is off, you don't have accountability nor transparency. You have what the cop said. Now, they could probably try to do their job responsibly with the camera off, but what happens when they don't? It's their word against the criminal. And very, very, very few people will take the word of a criminal over a cop. You say, well, criminals, look, I get it. Criminals are dicks. I don't know how else to say it. They're POS. They assault people. They steal. They commit murder. They commit, battery. They commit crimes. But that does not justify a cop lying on a police report, violating a civil right, or committing a crime himself to say, hey, man, it's just a criminal. Well, now you are what you're chasing. Like the movie Heat. I don't remember if it was Vincent or his wife, but one of them said, I think it was her that said,
all I have is what I'm going after.
That's what happens to some cops. They become what they're going after. And that's why it is important to have body-worn cameras, but it's also just as important to have them on when you're on scene. Because that camera is going to capture everything right there. Deputy Grayson didn't turn his on until he pulled the trigger. So if his buddy had not had his on, we wouldn't have known really what happened until after that trigger was pulled. And then it's their word against whatever. But unfortunately for Grayson, his buddy had that camera rolling, and we all know what happened to Sonia Massey. And I'm not trying to put all deputies and all law enforcement in one pot. I'm just saying he interjected himself. He stepped into the conversation. Now he's going to have to respond to this here too. But what really, really bugged me about that was when he said, you sound like someone who has no input. Really? And what I was thinking, and this is where clown came from, because I was preparing to do this video, and I was kind of weighing if I wanted to do it or not, but I was preparing to do this video, and clown came up when I thought, this captain is one of those law enforcement officers that turns his head when a deputy or other law enforcement officer does something wrong. He sounds like one of those that turns his head. I don't see anything. He sounds like one of those that goes, you know what? I don't see anything. Long as my deputy's safe, I don't care what he does. That's what that's what the impression that I got. And that's really what ired me. That's really what fired me up. I was like, you know what? You're a clown, dude. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe I'm overreacting, being over-emotional. I'm just tired of law enforcement nationally doing wrong and doing wrong again and doing wrong again. And their buddies and their partners standing around go, I don't see anything. I will give Sheriff Dicus credit that I do believe one of his intentions with these body-worn cameras is that officers can be more transparent in their day-to-day operations. You got a lot of cop watchers out there. Even in this county, there's been a few. High Desert Community Watch, myself, California Guardian, Riverside County Accountability, AV Watchman. I'm trying to think of all of them, and not all of us have been supportive of law enforcement. Some have been very, very critical of law enforcement. And so I believe the sheriff is trying to go in the right direction with these body-worn cameras to say, look, this is what's going on, guys. Now you know the truth. But you got this captain, I think the sheriff's more concerned with his deputy than whether the camera's on or not. I disagree with you. I think Sheriff Dicus would say, why didn't you turn your body camera on? Why was it off? I believe he would say that. I mean, he's paying for them. Well, we're paying for them. The taxpayers are paying for them. But they don't do any good if they're off. That's all I wanted to say. I want to know what you guys said. And you are free to say, damn, Jimmy, you talk a lot. But what do you guys say?